What's up, everybody? We're back with Men of Order. I got next. I got Chad with me again and Big Mike Raider. We're not talking about the Raiders in this game. We just did that. Check out our last video. Go hit subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming ones as well. Hit that like button for us. Leave a comment if you like our picks or any other ideas that we don't mention that you think of. Leave a comment, man. We'll get back to you and with our thoughts, and maybe they'll make the board on a Sunday morning on our Sunday morning show where we lock in these bets. And we've been cashing out, man. We're up 28 units in the last 2 weeks on NFL props. So make sure you're here for that Sunday show because we're trying to make some money for everybody, not just ourselves. But without further ado, we're going to talk about a divisional foe for the Raiders. The Chargers -3 going to Atlanta. The over-under set at 49. What are your guys' thoughts here? Chad, we'll start with you.
I don't know why Vegas just keeps on hating on the Falcons. I mean, I get it. I don't see why they're winning the games that they're winning, but somehow they are better than what they look like on paper. My computer model, the dog catcher, has also identified the Falcons as a team that should be the favorite in this game, and they're playing at home. And that's the one thing I'll say. You look at some of the games that Atlanta has played at home, and I called out one of them week 1 when the Saints were playing there. I've seen this matchup way too many times to think that Atlanta is not going to play better than a 5.5 point dog at home. And sure enough, they damn near beat the Saints. They had the Saints beat, and I don't know how they let them come back and win that game. Yeah. But you look at their home games. They lost that game to the Saints by 1. They beat Cleveland 23-20 at home. They beat San Francisco at home by 2 touchdowns, and they beat Carolina last week. They are 3-1 at home, and a couple of those games are like big wins. So yeah. I look at this team, and I see the Chargers coming in there. The Chargers got boat raced by Seattle a couple of weeks ago. I look at this matchup, and I think there's some stuff that I'm interested to see what your rushing and passing and different statistical matchups look like, because I see this as being a trap where people are looking at this and they're seeing like, San Diego coming off a bye week. They're looking to get right and everything. And I see it as being a big trap where Atlanta, don't underestimate them playing in the Mercedes Dome.
Yeah, and to your point about Vegas underestimating them a little bit, I mean that has some validation to it. The Falcons 6-2 right now against the spread coming into this game. I think they started 6-0. I think the last missed them. So little bit of regression going on there. Could it happen again today or this week? Of course. But
they ran into a buzzsaw with Cincinnati. They ran into a buzzsaw with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then last week, that Carolina game was crazy. I don't know what the hell was going on there. Shout out to DJ Moore for blowing it. Oh my God. That was
but at the same time, I mean, they didn't cover their point total there.
No, right.
They won the game, but they didn't cover it. So that was just the point I'm making. I do see the Falcons having a chance. Mike, what are you thinking in this?
For these two teams, is you got clashing styles. You got the Chargers, who are 4th in passing, and you got the Falcons that are 5th in rushing.
Yep.
So, and they both give up a lot of points and yards. So defensively, so it's like, who's going to take over this game and play the game that they want to play?
Hey, real quick to that point about the the different play styles. You mentioned the Chargers being 4th in passing yards. The Falcons defense is last in passing yards allowed. And then you mentioned the Falcons being 5th in rushing yards. The Chargers defense is 27th in rushing yards allowed. Yeah, so you're completely correct about this, clashing. I just wanted to make sure we got the defensive side of that in there too, because it works out perfectly, like you're saying. Continue.
Yeah. So to me, it's going to be what team comes out first and establishes this game's identity. And, I look at the Falcons defense as far as yards per play that they're giving up. It's a 6.3, which is one of the worst, is 31st in the league. I have more faith in Justin Herbert coming out off the bye. I know you said that that's kind of a trap. I'm kind of leaning that is the case. I think the Chargers have been underachieving. They do have a lot of injuries, but I do like Justin Herbert with the connection to Austin Eckler a lot. Similar to kind of what was going on with Alvin Kamara. I think this is an Eckler game. I think he's good for a couple touchdowns in this game, rushing yards, like total yards in the hundreds. in the maybe 125, 150 range, if I was to guess.
Yeah, my fantasy team loves that Justin Herbert to Austin Eckler connection too, because I start Eckler every week, obviously. But I like the over here. You made some points about how the defenses are going to struggle and the offenses are going to have a field day here. The Chargers are 11th in scoring. Falcons are 6th in scoring. The Chargers defense is 31st in points allowed. The Falcons defense is 29th in points allowed. Furthermore, uh, the Chargers are 14th on third down percentage. Falcons defense is 30th. The Falcons offense is 6th in third down percentage, and the Chargers defense 17th. Long drives might equal a lot of points allowed. Now, both teams are kind of, in the middle of the pack on both sides of the ball in red zone scoring for touchdowns. But, just getting down there, kicking some field goals, scoring a couple touchdowns. The over is pretty high at 49. You might want to think about maybe doing an alternate over in a parlay with some other plays or something, or teasing it down if you're doing a teaser. But I kind of like the over. Like on the surface, the over is my favorite thing here. I think it might be a shootout.
Yeah, I agree. I like the over on that one. The favorite the Chargers are favored to -3. I like the Chargers to cover in this game. I just think that that bye week is going to help them prepare, and I know they're on the road, but that's part of the preparation. They come out and guns blazing with the Chargers. They've been underachieving, and I think this is the game they kind of figure things out and get back on the winners column and in the better graces of everybody as far as like how we see the Chargers. So yeah, I would like the Chargers to cover and an over on that one. That's what I would pick.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Falcons only worry me just because they've been the cover machine, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't disagree with your points at all. I'm interested. I got to follow throughout the week. A couple things to follow is Keenan Allen's status, if he's going to play. He's listed as questionable. There's a lot of talk about this being the game he comes back in. And if that is the case, I mean, with those numbers we just talked about, the Falcons pass defense not being able to stop anything. And Herbert should have a lot of time to nickel and dime that bad pass defense because they're number one in not allowing sacks. And the Falcons are 30th against sacks. They have no pass rush. And the Chargers block for Herbert very well. He gets rid of the ball quickly. If Keenan Allen is back in the game, that just adds to that. And I think that does maybe give the Chargers the advantage there. On the Falcons side, Cordero Patterson is back at practice. They haven't listed if he's going to play or not. I think it's questionable or probable right now, but that's something to think about because the Falcons, they're 13th in yards per rush and 13th in yards per play. The Chargers are last in yards per rush and 28th in yards per play defensively. So, just depending on if Patterson or Algier gets the start and the bulk of the carries is to who you bet on in that case. But I do like the Falcons running game here. Obviously, they don't want to go to the pass at all, even though they have a stud out there in Drake London, who looks like he's going to be very good. They don't want to go to him right now with Marcus Mariota. They're running that ball. And this is the perfect game to do that against Chargers, like we started off the show by saying. Yep. So whichever one of those guys is starting is probably going to get a bet out of me, depending on what they set the number at. And if Keenan Allen plays, depending on what they set his number at, I like him to have a day too. It's always iffy taking a guy that's just coming back fresh off the injury, but Keenan's been out for a couple weeks now. So it leads me to believe that potentially Chad's stopping me here, but
yeah, Keenan Allen suffered a setback to his hamstring. I saw that last night, and I just pulled up the article here. I saw it come through on one of the headlines when I was watching Central Michigan win last night and cash one of my other bets. But it says the Chargers the Chargers are fresh off their bye week after having time to whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Keenan Allen did not practice Wednesday after saying he suffered a setback to his hamstring during the bye week. He said his hamstring feels worse than it did when the team entered the bye. This setback occurred when he was going through standard rehab and running. I don't think it's a restrain or anything. Allen said of his worsening hamstring injury, it's just some more scar tissue that's trying to break off. I'm going to let it do its own thing. So I'm leaning to he ain't gonna play, and if he does, I'm sure as shit not betting any overs for him.
Yeah, so,
he might last 3 plays.
Disregard my last 2-minute spiel right there. Disregard that.
That's why I was trying to stop. I was like,
I'm looking at the injury report that's listed here on coverage. They updated his since Tuesday, so on Tuesday it said questionable. Which and the reports were earlier in the week that he's leaning towards coming back today. So I guess he scratch that, but I do still think that whichever Falcons running back gets this start is, I mean, I'm leaning out if Patterson plays because the same situation where it's like he's just coming fresh off his injury. So, you might give him like 25% of the carries and then let Algier do his thing. Huntley's in the mix too for the Falcons, but any one of those guys could get a touchdown on this defense. Any one of those guys could go off for a long run. So I'm going to be looking at the longest rush lines for each of those guys as well. But I'm just throwing that out there as ideas, something to look at while you're making your bets. Any other player props that you guys are keyed in on? I guess with Keenan Allen being out, you got to take another look at Mike Williams then too.
Williams is out in IR as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot about
IR.
that. Yeah, he's out with the ankle injuries. Yeah, so now and then they got Jordan Palmer is questionable with that concussion, and Parham is probable with that concussion. So now it's
Austin,
like, what are
Austin Eckler over catches?
Yes, now yeah, exactly. What are we left with here?
Like,
well, and then there's what's the other guy's name? Number one. What's his name? He just came onto the scene a little bit this year. He's gonna get a big role then in that case. I don't know. I'm blanking on his name. I forget right now. Let me see if I can find it real quick while you guys mention some other thoughts you guys were having.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said that Eckler is going to have like a pretty heavy, high volume game. For Eckler, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you got a plus 330 for him. So, who else is the show in town? You kind of go with Eckler, and then you got Everett at tight end. You got I don't know if he's a rookie, Trey McKitty. I know that's their second tight end, or he's in the rotation for tight end. So, Herbert doesn't discriminate who he throws the ball to. So
that's true. Yep.
You can find him. He can find anybody. And
so is Herbert
Palmer?
The play then? Is Herbert the play then? Possibly. I'm just thinking like attempts maybe. That's because I'm just thinking like they're still going to have to throw the ball because they're not effective running the ball, and the Falcons are really good stopping the run. It may be, and you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing on the road in that dome. It's noisy as hell. Like it's a raucous crowd. It may be better to just run some shit out of the gun, let him see the field, and get some quick throws off. And you might see like ratcheted up attempts because it's going to be a lot of short stuff.
Yeah,
and you won't necessarily be able to guarantee the yards, but similar like what we saw with Joe Burrow the other night, whereas the attempts hit. I don't know if you would have cashed if you had completions or yards, because you'd had to tamp those down big time and pay a premium on your juice. But that might be the play to me. That and Eckler. I think Eckler catches and Herbert attempts might be the play there.
And even Eckler total yards even at that point, because they're going to have to keep him honest a little bit and run the ball a little bit. They don't like to anyway, but they do it here and there, and he does have success when they do. But DeAndre Carter was the guy I was thinking of, by the way, number one on the Chargers. He's going to be returner. Yeah, he's going to be pretty much their number one then at that point. If Palmer doesn't go, so if Palmer goes, he's the number two.
Their number one's 5'8".
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless I'm missing something, who else do they have on the roster there? They
got a good rotation of tight ends, like I said.
Yeah. So one of those guys is gonna have to jump to the slot or maybe outside even or something like that. Yeah, But and then Parham has to play too. I mean, they're both probable, Parham and Palmer, but I know they're hoping to rush them through the concussion protocol at this point because they're gonna need them out there Sunday. But that's everything changed with the Tua thing. So who knows if they're going to be out there or not, depending on any setbacks that happen. That's a big loss, Keenan Allen. Wow, that blindsided me because I was looking at the report from Tuesday apparently.
If he does play, no worries. If he does play, it's going to be a big pitch count. He's going to, he's probably going to play a few plays and he's not going to do much. I will go under. If you were going to put a bet on that, that's probably the safest thing to do is under, and whatever the yardage is. I will go with that.
And it's going to be hard even to use him as a decoy because he already said this shit publicly. So like it's not like if he hadn't said anything publicly and we found out after the game that he suffered a setback and he just didn't tell anybody, they ran him out there and had him like jog a couple of routes and do some of those old Randy Moss things where he's like, I know the ball ain't coming to me, so I'm not running. You joking? Yeah. But I did want to say this about the over. So we talked about the over being a possibility. So this is the Chargers road games so far this year. at Kansas City 27-24, at Houston 34-24, at Cleveland 30-28. So those are all in the 50s. All right, and some of them eclipse 60. This is Atlanta's home games. New Orleans 27-26, that's 53. Cleveland 23-20, that's only 43. But then the Rams, it was 28-14, and then Carolina last week 37-34. So the only two games that you can say that weren't really in that ballpark were San Francisco, who was struggling mightily offensively coming into that game. But they've made some additions now, and I think they're going to be much better offensively now with Christian
And that was
McCaffrey.
still in the ballpark. Wasn't that 28-14?
28-14.
Yes, we're at 42, but we're a
Yeah,
touchdown
42.
short of pushing on that.
And
so
then
it's
the
like,
Cleveland
it's in
game,
the ballpark, kind of.
yeah, that Cleveland
3-2,
game was they were both just running the ball at each other like pretty much the whole game. So this one, I think there's some real potential for this to be. And you saw what PJ Walker and DJ Moore did to this Atlanta secondary last week.
Exactly.
I don't know who it's going to be, but Justin Herbert's going to find somebody.
Yeah, as long as they catch the ball, I trust Herbert to get it close.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter how open a guy is, Herbert's got that ability, got that arm for that. And if you think about it, I mean, the Falcons, it's surprising that the Falcons are 5-3 to their overs, and that all those scores you just listed are so close to this really high 49 over for this game. It's funny because they run the ball, which you would like all the time, which you would think kills the clock. But they've been having some running matchups where they still get around or over this over. And the Chargers on the other side are not going to run the ball.
Yeah, they're only averaging 30 minutes of possession a game. It's like 30 minutes and like 10 or 12 seconds or something like that. It's not a high over
big plays.
The time of possession. They're busting off big plays, or they're going 3 and out when they're not running effectively. And so it's not like they're just grinding 3-4 yards at a time and marching down the field in 15 plays and chewing up 11 minutes. It's still short drives. So this definitely could play to the over, I think, because of the way that they match up with each other, and you could see some quick drives. And then the more of that happens early, the more the defenses are on the field, and they're going to be exhausted, and they're going to be getting gashed or bomb deep because they're not going to have the I don't know. We're at that point in the season where I don't know. I think the Chargers with that bye week maybe have a little bit more time to get some guys in a little bit better shape, but Atlanta may be struggling late in that game as they did against Carolina in the secondary.
Yeah. You know, for wanted to throw one real quick out there. First touchdown, Eckler's a plus 380.
I was just about to say, I think we've held out long enough. What's Big Mike's first touchdown score?
We
were on the same page there. I was just about to say that.
You know what? I got you know the easy pick will be Eckler plus 380. If you want to look anything like this kind of outside the box, you got like in a cleanup goal line situation, you got Sony Michel for a plus 1,000. He's good in the goal line. And then somebody like for the Falcons, Kyle Pitts at a plus 950. And here's one that's kind of a long shot is Trey McKitty, tight end for the Chargers. He's a plus 2,200. So
I would say
especially with the Chargers being short with receivers and targets, you can find him in a goal line situation, like a play action, throw to the guy that nobody's expecting to go to, and you never know. Plus 2,200 right there. So
that's what I was gonna say for that one. Is I would probably wait and think about that as Donald Parham's status becomes official, because if he's playing, you maybe kind of look away from that just because then he'll be third up in that situation. So when you're talking about anytime touchdown, maybe still a thought, but for first touchdown, you got to think maybe not the third tight end. But if Parham is out, they run a 2 tight end set on the goal line there. Which
they're going to have to because they don't have any receivers.
Exactly. So that's in the picture for sure. But I was just gonna say, just wait on Parham's status, because maybe you plug Parham in if he's a go instead. But I like those picks. I like those. I like Kyle Pitts. Even Marcus Mariota for like any time. But we'll see. What do you guys think about Kyle Pitts in general? He's been coming on a little lately.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say of the ones that were mentioned there, I like the Kyle Pitts first touchdown, and I like that Sonny Michel because what I could see happening is you could see something similar to what happened with Cleveland where you get the dump off to Eckler, but then he gets tackled at the 2, and then they pound it in. Or maybe Eckler breaks off like a 20-something yarder, and they pull him to the sideline just to give him a breather, and they run out the fresh legs.
Yep.
You see that happen all the time where your fantasy back gets the ball to the 1, but he broke off a 38-yarder to get there. And so now he's gassed because he just ran 3 plays before that too, and they bring him off and they let the other guy cash the money, and you're like, God damn it, come on.
That was the Breece Hall plugging Michael Carter with 3 touchdown special before he got hurt.
That was the first one I thought
Breece
of.
Hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it was he would get tackled on the 1-yard line once a game, and Michael Carter would get the touchdown every time, and I'm just like, come on. But
well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh, sorry, too soon.
Man.
Man.
It's all good,
hurt
man.
me.
To the rookie season, the elite rookie season of Breece Hall, man, that was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he comes back the same. That's what I'm really hoping on.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
If Nick Chubb can come back from what he came back from, I mean, y'all remember that, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
His shit
I mean, there's been
backwards.
countless that have
He
come
got
back and
Napoleon
played very
McCollum.
well.
Oh God. Yeah, you're right.
One more thing I was going to mention when you were talking about the Sony Michel possibility down near the goal line, even in regular sets, if the Chargers are going to be this short offensively with wide receivers, we saw what the Packers did a couple weeks ago when they were really short, and they have a serviceable backup running back in A.J. Dillon. Sony Michel, I mean, he's fallen off a little bit, but nobody's going to say he's like chips or anything. Like, he can play. So they trust giving him the ball, obviously. They might put Eckler out wide like they've been doing with Aaron Jones in Green Bay a little bit on a couple plays, and Michelle might get a couple more running back setups or running back snaps than a normal situation with Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, everybody healthy and everything. So
I like that.
Consider
I like
also
that
in
a
that
lot.
situation.
Yeah, that's a good comp because it's very similar. Both Green Bay and San Diego are just they're hurting for receivers, and in both cases they've got capable receiving backs, and then they've got a capable backup running back who can line up in the backfield while that guy is split out in the slot or wherever, or going in motion, and it creates some matchup problems for a defense too, because now you've got to honor that stuff. So
Yep. They need to make a new rule about teams moving or changing their name, because I am never going to get used to not calling the Chargers San Diego, the Raiders Oakland, and the Commanders the Redskins. I'm never going to get used to that. And we just brushed right by, like, nobody even bats an eye. Chad goes, San Diego. Nobody even thinks.
Did I say San Diego?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
As you should, though. As you should. Like, we should just boycott. We should just boycott these new names and just say San Diego.
And,
say the
listen,
Redskins.
damn it, the Raiders are Oakland. The Oakland Raiders.
I'm never going to get
always
used to
will
it.
be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't call them Las Vegas. It's too hard.
Dude, I end up calling them the LA Raiders more often than the LV. You know what I mean? Like, it flows a little even better. I mean, St. Louis Rams, there's just so many examples where we're gonna stumble here and there.
When you had the Cardinals, you had the Cardinals and then the Rams and everything. It's just like, man, y'all.
But at least the Rams, like, the Rams have been gone for a little bit longer, I guess. So we don't mess that one up as much. But
but they were over there. Like, they were over there before, though.
Well, yeah, exactly.
They were over there before.
But
they did. That's what I was saying. They did the thing the Cardinals did, where they moved and then moved back.
Like, what are you
doing?
You guys got anything else on this game? All right.
Nope,
As always, we're going to lock some of these thoughts in as we see fit on the Sunday morning show. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turn that bell notification on and tune in Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Me and Chad will be here throwing down bets. We're up 28 units the past 2 weeks on that show. Well, I guess not on that show specifically, because we include the Monday night and the Thursday night shows also. So just make sure
watch
you're
those
here
too.
with
Damn
us,
it!
checking us out. Yeah, watch those also, because we're cashing out. And shout out to Big Mike Raider. Appreciate you coming on again, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep doing
this.
Thank
you. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
If those first touchdown bets hit, we are making your own show for you. We're going to give you the keys to the Ferrari on that and just let you ride out.
I'll wear my Miss Cleo hat and everything, man.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Miss Cleo. Oh man. Oh gosh.
All right.
Miss Cleo.
Hey, best of luck betting, everybody. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We out. Peace.
Peace.